Hey everyone! So today we are making an easy no yeast donut balls. We start off with our dry ingredients. So you want to get yourself a large mixing bowl, you want to get yourself a large sieve, and you want to get yourself a scale. Put your scale directly underneath your bowl. Put your scale on. We need 300 grams of plain flour. That's sugar, right? Let's put that in first. Plain flour, okay? So just put it in slowly until you reach 300 grams. So put your scale back on 0 and weigh in your sugar, 60 grams of sugar. And again, just pour it in slowly until you reach 60 grams. Then you need roughly about half a teaspoon of salt. So put your scale back on 0, make sure it's on 0 before you start weighing in your baking powder, and it's 20 grams of baking powder, okay? Because baking powder is what is going to make our donuts rise, okay? So there's no yeast in these donuts, it's baking powder that we're using to help them with the rise. That is pretty much all our dry ingredients, and then I'm just going to sift those into the bowl. So that's all our dry ingredients, just put those to the side for now. So get yourself a bowl, put that on top of your scale. Put your scale on 0, and we're going to weigh out 60 grams of butter. You can use unsalted butter or salted butter. Doesn't make that much of a difference. So we're going to melt our butter in the microwave for a few seconds. Let that melt. In the meantime, while that's melting, I'm going to turn my oil on. So I have my oil in a big wok because that's what I normally fry stuff in. Use any kind of flavourless oil, but make sure it's fresh oil, okay, that you fry in, not oil that you've already fried stuff previously in, because you don't want the taste of anything else in your donuts, okay? You want clean, fresh oil. I'm just going to put the heat on low just so that the heat warms up while we're making the rest of our butter, okay? So our butter is melted completely. Okay, so put that to the side because it's a bit hot yet, so we're not going to use that straight away. Get yourself another bowl or a measuring jug. I'm just going to use a measuring jug just because I find it easy to weigh like wet ingredients in, but you can use a normal bowl, that's absolutely fine. And we're going to weigh in our milk. Okay, so put your scale on 0. 240 milliliters of milk, which is the same as 240 grams of milk, okay? And then in there we're going to crack 1 large egg. And then a teaspoon of vanilla extract. We're using vanilla bean paste, you can just use regular vanilla extract. That a bit of a mix. We're going to add in your melted butter to that. So now all you need to do is add your wet ingredients into the dry ingredients that you prepared earlier. So just whisk them in to start with, and you can change to a wooden spoon to mix it in properly. Literally just a few dry ingredients, a few wet ingredients, you mix them together, and then it forms this kind of, it's not really a dough, it's more like a batter, but it's a very thick batter that you just scoop into your hot oil. And then you basically fry them, and then you get delicious light fluffy donut balls, crispy on the outside, soft on the inside. Once you feel like it's all uniform and it's all mixed in well, then that is your dough ready. So I've got a bowl here that I'm going to put some sugar in this. Sugar that I'm going to roll the balls, the donut balls in. My family doesn't like cinnamon sugar, so if you like cinnamon sugar, you can also add like a teaspoon or half a teaspoon of cinnamon into the sugar, just to give it that cinnamon flavour if you like cinnamon sugar, so you can use that to roll your donuts in instead. You need some kind of plate, about a couple of sheets of paper, kitchen paper that I'm going to put onto there, just to put the donuts onto, because obviously we're deep frying, so they're going to be a little bit greasy. Now the temperature of the oil, you want it to be roughly about 170 degrees, so try and keep it around that temperature when you fry them. And you don't want to add a lot of them at the, like, even though my wok is big, I wouldn't add more than 8 in at one time, just simply because it will mess with the temperature of the oil too much. So you want to keep it consistent so they cook on the inside as well as the outside. You've got two options here for scooping. You can either use a really small ice cream scoop, even a smaller one. This is like a medium size, but if you've got ideally a smaller one than this, that'll work really well. Or you can use 2 teaspoons or a tablespoon and a teaspoon, whatever you find easier, and just scoop like a teaspoon amount per ball, however you find it easy to scoop your batter. So the oil's hot enough now, so I'm going to turn it down to a medium so that it stays at that temperature. Okay, so once your oil reaches the right temperature, just turn it down so it doesn't go too hot. Okay, so you're deep frying now. Okay, so I'm going to start off with a few with the scoop, and then show you how to do them with the scoop, and then the rest, and then I'll show you how to do it with a teaspoon. So because the scoop is quite big, I'm only doing half a scoop, because otherwise it's just like too big. So you just drop them in basically into your oil. These have drained a little bit, so what you need to do is just roll them in your cinnamon sugar into another plate. With some teaspoons, just grab yourself a couple of teaspoons, scoop in your dough, okay, and just use the other spoon to put it into your oil, okay? You can just scoop it in like that. A teaspoon amount is enough for one, okay? Serving suggestions, guys. You can melt some Nutella, you can dip them in Nutella, you can put like cream cheese frosting or like a jam dip, like just basically just melt some little bit of jam in a bowl, and people can just literally pick up their donuts, dunk them in whatever they want and eat them like that, or they can eat them as they are, nice and warm. They taste best fresh and warm. You have it crispy on the outside, and then you open it and you have a fluffy, really soft, delicious, bouncy donut on the inside, okay? Cooked through. Yeah, it's not raw on the inside, it's lovely. So as long as you've got the temperature right, it's nice and fluffy and soft. You can literally, excuse me, eat 5 of these and it won't feel like you've eaten it. It's just like clouds in your mouth basically. And it tastes really nice on their own, or you can dunk them in different stuff. Like, the options are endless. Whatever you feel like dipping them in, you can literally dip them and eat them like that as well, just like a churro. And that's it, guys. It's really easy, right, guys? So I hope you enjoyed that, guys. This was a very easy donut recipe. You can serve them however you want. I gave you a few ideas for your serving suggestions. So there you go, guys. There's your easy, no yeast donut balls. Please, thank you so much for joining me. Take care. Wa alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Tulu.